hopefully, pending no technical issues, we are now live. Happy Wednesday, everybody. Got a few people in chat already. Crazy Crew 1213, Builders Mark, welcome to the chat and the stream and the modeling and whatever else we get up to tonight. 3D Medic Vince is joined. Builders Mark says testing 1 2. How's everybody's week been so far? Past the halfway point now, at least for work for most people. Only a small technical issue today. My camera has decided it will no longer charge the battery. So I don't know if it's the battery or low power from the charging brick, or the charging circuit in the camera may have failed. The battery will still turn on the camera, and then it'll say battery depleted and turn off. When I plug the charger in, the charge light comes on for like 5 seconds, and then it goes out. So Jackson is here. Hey Jackson, how are you, buddy? Midterms. That time of year already, eh? Guess those come around twice a year. Now I did keep working a little bit on the model from last week. Let's see. You guys send me some info for my Pi. Twitter's usually, or X, whatever we're calling it. I'm going to keep calling it Twitter. Twitter is probably the easiest way, I think. Jackson, are you playing Farm Simulator again? Let's see here. I don't remember if I set up my chat on here. Looks like we're good. So I kept working on the design a little bit from last week. It was almost done when we popped off. Bob Carnes is here. Roblox. Kids are still playing Roblox? Yeah, it was almost done last week. It was pretty much, in my mind, just a matter of putting, like, essentially the holes to screw the case together. You've looked at my part list for the new arcade cabinet, and I have some recommendations. I haven't released the... unless you're talking about Ready Printer 1. That was the one from a few years ago. That's I'm working on a redesign that'll have new hardware in it. But I'm always open for suggestions and seeing what I can source. So I'll show you the printed prints from last time. Yeah, so like I said, it was mostly just a matter of putting like the screw holes in for things and then sending it off to be printed. I think it took me maybe 15 or 20 minutes to finish the design, and then a little bit of redesign work afterwards. So let's go ahead and swap. This guy. Yeah, we'll just we'll abuse this one and blow it up. Good enough for now. We don't need perfection. So, remember, you may or may not recall that during the stream last week I said, oh, I don't have a model for the Raspberry Pi 5, so I'll just use the one for the 4 because they're basically the same. Well, as you can see, this is the first bottom shell that I printed. Oh, I didn't realize how far into this I was going to have to reach. Okay, 2 seconds here. So this is the first bottom shell that I printed. There's the ports and everything on it, and if we go ahead and drop our Pi 5 in, you can see the ports line up. Oh, there's no headphone jack on this one, and what you probably won't be able to see is that the screw holes and everything also line up when it's properly positioned. So you think all is well. Well, then I went to put the lid on it, and my USB dongles end up stopping it from closing. So at first I was like, oh, I must have mismeasured something. That's not too big of a deal. But no, my mistake comes from, if we take a Raspberry Pi 5 and 4 and put them side by side, you'll notice that the Ethernet ports end up together. The USB ports are on the opposite side. So while I did measure these ones for the proper height, it was assuming that the USB ports, because I used the model for the 4, would be on this side. So I went ahead and remodeled the bottom, which basically was just, well, not remodeled, I changed the bottom a bit. So the new one moves the Pi further back so that those USB ports are now lined up with where they were in the model, or sorry, the dongles are where they were in the model, and then fit properly into the case. So then if we take the new shell and we drop it in, again, everything lines up. A little less ventilation now because we had put in, as you guys might recall, the ventilation sort of here. Now there's only like a couple of bars open there. But this has the distinct advantage of having the case fit properly. So there's the completed product. I have to play around with the printing orientation. I'm not happy with the way I've done it so far, but I haven't figured out what the best positioning is going to be. You see the cartridge is in place, and there's the additional ventilation holes that we put in. The cartridge screws in from underneath. And then the other thing I added was tabs to those switches, so they just snap into place, so no glue or anything required. And then we got the reset button, which is just pressure fit in there, so it goes in first, and then you snap these down and it's got nowhere to go. So that's what we've got so far. But as I said, I'm not super thrilled with how it printed. So if we look at this side, just trying to get the light on it, you can see the layer lines on that side. So I printed it like this, and then this side, of course, took the texture of the bed. So it's not perfect. So then I tried printing. I'm not checking chat at the moment. I'll be checking chat in a second, just in case anybody's messaging there. So I printed a second one. This one's in a lighter gray because I found that the gray I used was a little too dark, but this one's almost white, so I don't think I'll go with this one. This one I tried to print like this, and so it turned out relatively decent until it got to the end, and then the end ended up a little jagged. But it's just, no matter which way you go, you're going to be sacrificing a little something. So my other issue with this guy here is that, and it probably won't show up on camera, but the lines here, because this was printed slightly on an angle, instead of these being nice cut lines, it's got the layer finishes in them, so it's like jagged. So yeah, and I don't want to split it into two parts because it's just a simple little design. Gonna take a look at chat now. The bottom pedal, like in here. So if that's showing up on camera, let me bring my it's because I printed it like this and I didn't print supports underneath it. But yeah, I don't think I actually have ironing turned on for my prints right now. But yeah, this is because this was all bridging. So because it was on the inside, I wasn't too worried about it. But yeah, so that's kind of where we're at, but we're almost out of time for Christmas, so I don't know. Do I try printing this color and this orientation, which gives potentially cleaner lines? And then this, I tried to print this without any support, and I think that's kind of where things went a little wrong. Yeah, no, I totally get that. I've only recently started being like, well, if it's going to be someplace somebody can't see it, then I'm not going to waste the extra filament on it. But But yeah, I think I'm going to try reprinting with that one with proper supports through here. I was trying not to waste too much of this material because I can't get more of it, and it's a pretty close color match to the old, as I'm holding this in the wrong spot. This guy's a pretty close color match to the old IBM computer, so I don't want to waste too much of it and not have it for some other projects I'm working on. But yeah, so that's where we're at. It fits well. The purple's a good match. So the reason I feel like this is too dark is it looks better on camera, but this should be a significantly more of a contrast to this. And instead, it's kind of in between. There's the actual cartridge on top of it. But anyways, maybe I'm being too much of a perfectionist. Maybe people won't care that much. But that's where we're at. So, the old case design, which I foolishly, because I just jumped into fixing it, it fits the 4, but I didn't save the file, so it doesn't fit anything. I mean, technically it'll still fit the 4 without the dongles anyways. It's still the same setup. Like, I can take this guy here, drop in the 4, and it's fine. You just can't access the USB ports. I think the next design I might do too, or the next modification to it I might do, is to cut out a panel to make the USB ports accessible, and then create an insert that goes in and covers it up. So if you're only using the Bluetooth and you don't need to use them, then they're covered up and then they're there when you need them. It was Fusion. Yeah, we designed the case last week on the stream. We got, I'd say, 85% of it done. So, yeah, it's. I actually thought it might be fun. Maybe next week, if all this is done, is to have somebody in chat pick a video game console and we try and build a pie case around it. And that's pretty much just me stumbling my way through it. As anybody who's here from last week can attest to, that's pretty much how it went. It was just a little stumble my way through. So, but yeah. So there's not much, if anything, left to do on the modeling of that guy, but I am working on another request, which also happens to be one that I've wanted to do for a while. Fusion is free for hobbyists, so there's strict rules on making money off of it. So it is something you have to sort of keep in mind, but there is a free version of it available. I think you have to reapply every year to show that you're still non-profit or you're still just in the hobbyist space. But yeah, you can get it for free. I have mixed feelings about suggesting it to people that are getting started now because they keep changing what is in the free version and what you're allowed to do with the free version, and my concern is that at some point in the near future they may just not have the free version anymore. So, yeah, maybe one day I'll host a design competition. I'm just trying to get back to consistency for hanging around on YouTube and stuff, and get back into producing videos. But I think once I've got a little bit of a normalization back there, I'll be getting into some more exciting stuff. So does anybody in chat remember a video game console called the Intellivision? Just curious. I mean, Onshape and Tinkercad are both very capable applications. I have not gone into any of the open source ones yet. There's FreeCAD, and I mean, there's more than one, but I keep telling myself I should switch over to something that's open source and get learning it now so that I'm not caught off guard when Fusion inevitably changes their stuff. But it's finding the time. It's been busy enough trying to get on every Wednesday, or my original plan was every other Wednesday, but I figured I'd try and do 2 in a row and see how that goes out. But I mean, that's also the kind of thing that I could totally start playing with one of the higher suggested ones here and see if anybody in chat has suggestions on how to use it. Cool. So you've seen the games before. So the case I'm working on right now is a Intellivision inspired one. So I'm just wondering. I'm going to grab a picture of it first. I believe FreeCAD is a like fundamentally different product than like it works on different philosophies than you could do a learn open source with me. Yeah, absolutely. That's a great idea, Adam. I think FreeCAD works on different fundamentals than Fusion does, so it is a kind of a relearning. But the fact that Free's in the name is pretty telling. So I'm just gonna grab a picture of the Intellivision Model 1 so that I can show people what it looks like. I think I can actually just toss a photo in here now into OBS. Did people get notifications today too? I had a couple of people message me last week and say that they didn't get notifications when I started up, and then at least one person started sort of just towards the end saying that they didn't see it. So I'm just curious. Okay, so this little other chonky boy is me. No, just kidding. Well, I'm glad to hear it served you well. That's awesome. And I'm glad that you got a notification too. So this guy here is the Intellivision. It's a video game console that came out in the late 70s to compete with the Atari 2600. And it was made by Mattel Electronics, so the same people that create Barbie and I think G.I. Joe. And it was the first video game console I ever played, and it's one of those things where I've been meaning to do a case based on it because I would like to use it for my own personal Pi. And then I had somebody reach out and ask if I had done one yet, and I haven't. So I started some rough work on it, and then I was like, well, I'll try and finish it on the stream. So I'll go ahead and share my Fusion, which I think is this one. There we go. And then we're just going to turn off the Elgato. And so this is the top-down view of it as it stands right now. There's not much in the way of a case per se on it yet. Let's go ahead and minimize this here. It's more just the top layer of it, as you can see here. The only thing I did do was I positioned the Pi so that the vents that are built into the Intellivision are over the processor. So if I hide body 1, you can see it's kind of directly. Hey Nathan. Well, I don't have a good recommendation for a free one because I haven't. No. That's what I'm here for. I'm happy to answer questions. I don't have a recommendation for a free one right now because I only have used really Fusion 360 for most of my modeling, which is free. And I think it's a great product, and if it continues to be free, that it will be good for people to use. But there's no guarantee that it's going to stay free year after year, and that's my concern right now. Is that if I tell somebody to start using it a year from now, they may not be able to use it anymore. So, so I'm going to put the image up here, sort of just shrunk down as well, just so that we have. Don't know why it keeps blowing it back up, because all I did was, doesn't matter anyways. We're going to shrink it down. And I think it's, I mean, it's not exact, but I think it's kind of close enough that people get the idea. I will check out Discord later. I appreciate that. Daphne got you a new headset. Well, that's good. How's it work? Uh, can I make this? Can I make the actual Intellivision a little bit smaller, or is it getting hard to make out the details? Like if I go down to like that, is that good enough? And for whatever information you sent me, Mark, thank you. I appreciate it. Fusion. And then I'm gonna try and kind of line up the angles a little. I didn't go as far. I do have an Intellivision. I didn't go as far as to try and like match them up verbatim so that the scale is exactly the same. I kind of just eyeballed it. I think it's probably going to be good enough. I do have a Discord. I'm trying to remember what because it's under Print and Play Retrospective. But yeah. So this is where we're at with the Intellivision casing so far, which, like I said, is just the top section. I haven't even really figured out how I'm going to multicolor it yet. I may just bring it into Bamboo and print it. And I've also got to figure out how I'm going to do the gold on it. I know it doesn't have to be exact, but so I had started doing extra detail work into the controls here, because the actual controller has like a black outliner on it, and then it has the numbers printed on them. This isn't going to be big enough to have that much detail in it. And then the other thing is that the sort of, so I've done an Atari case before, and the Atari case obviously has wood grain in it as well. This has a wood grain band that goes all the way around it. For the Atari one, I used like MacTac, kind of like sticker paper essentially that had a wood grain on it. I cut a strip, I cut a template out and put that on. That worked pretty well. But I was like, is there a way that we can 3D model in the wood grain? Alrighty, buddy, have fun. Tell the family I said hi. Is there a way that we can model in the wood grain and have it mix between like black and brown? I don't know. Like I can imagine I can brute force it. I can make it possible for that to work, but I just don't know if there's an easy way to do it. Certainly not easy in Fusion 360. The only thing I could think of is if I were to find a like a vector file of a wood grain, I could basically apply it over top of it, then do like an extract extrude type thing, and then just color one part black, one part brown, and have it switch between colors. So that's kind of where my thought process is right now, but I'm just not sure yet. So this is going to be designed to have a 40 millimeter fan. That's how big I've built the vent, which is kind of the sizing of the vent is kind of what dictated what size the case was going to be. Oh, that's interesting. I have not played with that before, Mitch. Also, welcome to chat. Good to see you as always. So I'm going to go ahead and put a rectangle on here. We're going to do corner to corner to get the halfway middle point here. And then, if memory serves, I think... Oh yeah, this is where it's going to become a problem. The screws for the fan, I think, are 32 millimeters in. So, I gotta double check that. I believe they're 32 millimeters from corner to corner. Yeah, 32 give or take 0.03. Always forget something, but that's okay. We can work around it. The rest of the modeling I put into it, I don't want to waste. So instead, knowing that there are mount holes here, and we're going to make them 2.85 to allow for 3 millimeter screws. Don't know why it keeps going into the what do we call that? Oh no, it's so there's a mode where you can put in a line that's not divisionary. It's kind of just for doing it's kind of just for doing like measurements and stuff, so the dotted lines are not, they don't divide anything actually up. I think it's a construction line now that I think about it. It kept going back to construction lines, which is not super helpful. But let's just see. Do 6 by 6, 7 by 7. Yeah, that'll probably be fine. So we're just gonna do a 7 by 7 on each of these. And this is just creating a spot for the mounting of the screws for the fan. And we're just going to do a press pull on each of these. And yeah, it's going to be a little obvious when you look down through the vent that there's pieces of plastic across it. But, you know, what are you going to do? We'll probably make those 5 millimeters tall. Maybe we'll go for 6, and then I can use up to probably a 1 centimeter M3 screw. How obvious is it going to be from under here? Well, you're going to see it, but once the screws are in it, maybe not so much. It's all good. So I think it's under the surface menu. Well, once I get the outside of this modeled, we'll take a look at that and see what we can do. So now let's take a look at where that puts it in comparison to the Pi, because we also want to make sure. So then there's going to be the fan on top of that, and then we're going to have heat sinks on top of here. So I think we're going to, oh, this is going to complain again probably. I don't know if you, for those who were here last week, every time I went to move the Pi, it complained. It was an error that I hadn't seen before, saying it had to basically create a new version of, yeah. Following components may be rigidly assembled to the default component and can't move. Would you like to create copies? And then, yeah, so I just say, yeah, let's create a copy. That's weird. Why is it not? Call it there. That should probably be plenty, I would think. And then we're going to do a remove on the original one. So now we know how deep the console needs to be. So we're going to do a O for offset. And no, it's doing, I must have hit I by accident. I'm going to do -2. Seems to be plenty for a case design. We'll go ahead and drop it down, and we're just going to get it sort of just tall enough. Call it 30 maybe. Now obviously that makes it a bit chonkier than the original. Of course, if we want to, so the original one, we go to say the halfway point. Then we're going to create the bottom off of that. I want it to swoop in a little bit more. So the original one has a design where it kind of swoops in the bottom, so the bottom part's smaller than the top part. So let's say we do an offset of -5. Then we do a press pull on there, and we're going to do a -2. That's going to be the bottom when we get there. So then we'll do a move on this guy. We'll bring it down Where's my positional? That's interesting. There we go. Might have already been there and I just didn't see it. 20, no, we can probably do minus 17. That should be plenty, I would think. Okay, so then, let me think here, how are we going to do this? Need to think. Because I do want to create that sweep. Okay, I'm making this up as I go along, so I don't even know if it's actually going to turn out the way I hoped. But let's go, say 7. That's still obviously big enough for the ports and stuff on the Pi. And then we're gonna do a press pull on this guy. It's the whole thing, and we're gonna do to object. So that's gonna connect it to the bottom part. We're gonna do new body, because what I want to do, interesting this line here, I'm not sure what's up with that. Combine this one and this one, and that gives us that, and then let's see if I can get the curvature that I want by using a simple fillet. I don't know what it clicked here, but 5, 6, 7. Let's see how close we get. 6.2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 9, 5, 6. But 7 was too much. Well, I guess that's probably... I'm trying to find the link for you is the Pi 5 Pyramin 5 UPS. Is that one of those UPSs that kind of like sandwiches onto the Pi and it runs off a couple of, what are those cells? The 18650s? Because I think I have one, although I don't know if it's capable of running the Pi 5. I think I have one for the 4. Okay, so that's pretty accurately what I was going for, to be honest. That doesn't look too bad at all. Other than, you know, the thickness. But that's okay. So then we're going to hide the top body. And we're going to modify, and then we're going to make this into a shell. Call it 2 millimeters thick. Bam, there we go. That's not too shabby at all. So then bring the body back. Yeah, so it is thicker than the... I don't know what's creating this subdivide here. Is it like that on both sides? No. So let's do a... Maybe something just got a little messed up. Press pull. We'll do to object and see if it just... Nope. It's saying it's the same... Can I just delete the line? Weird. Unless it's... I'm trying to see if... looks like there's a cut in it, maybe? Yeah, there is. Okay, so if I can get in there and just do a press pull on it. No. Hold on. Get out of here. Nope. Come on. I keep... I don't know if you guys can tell. I'm just trying to like get it just to highlight. And yeah, it doesn't... What a weird thing. Come on. There's like a 1 pixel gap where I can kind of... No, that didn't work. Okay, can I delete this part, maybe? No, I can't delete it. Okay, well, let's do this. Let's do -2 on it. -2. -2. No, let's do -1. Because I just want to see if... See, I thought that might get us access into the part that's broken, but also realizing that my face is not currently on the stream, which... can we just drop this back in there? Bam. Move me over here. Good enough. Okay, so then we're going to try and do a press pull on here. We're going to do -2. This one, it's fine. Okay, and then if I do that and I do this, which is to say if I right click and do press pull, can I then marry these surfaces back together? No, it immediately created that line again. How very odd, except for, and this time it looks like, it's not even. I wonder how that happened. Can I press and pull this all the way to here? That probably breaks things, right? Going to try and make this work. I just haven't figured out how yet. New body. Let's do that. Modify, combine this guy and this guy. That gets rid of that. And then can I fix this corner just by doing this, 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 and pulling it across? Does that give me my proper corner back? Not really. Let's see what happens if we paint it black. Still have our messed up line there. I think we're just gonna back it off. Go back to where it was. Might revisit that in the future, but for now, good enough. Okay, so much like the case from last week, chat's quiet this week. I think we lost most of the people. So much like last week, the HDMI and stuff is going to be inset a little bit into the design. So we'll go ahead and do a panel off there. And let's see. So coming off of here. Oh, no worries. Nobody has to chat. It is not that big of a deal. So let's go here and then divide by half. That should give me the halfway point of the pie. Then we're going to do a rectangle off of there. And we'll do it, I don't know, let's say 80. 75. Maybe I don't need to go off of the middle. Maybe we're just gonna go from here to here. So I'm just going off of the edge of the pie. Keeps turning on construction. I keep turning it off. We'll do 60 is probably enough. And let's do a top view. We'll hide the bottom part for now just to, I think I said 60 and then 10. And then we'll do 60 for the width, and then we'll do 5 off of here, maybe 7 just to make sure that it intersects with the bottom. And then one of the key things that we're going to want to do here, if it'll let me select the whole thing. So I'm going to make this 2 millimeters thick, the same as the shell. It seems to have already decided a thickness. 2 millimeters thick. But I'm going to do an offset, and the offset I'm going to do it like 0.4 millimeters, just to give some space between the pie and the back panel. And maybe we'll do 1.6 on here. That's probably plenty, because this isn't really going to be super structural. It's just a kind of like a shield on it to stop you from sticking anything into the wrong spots. So now that we've got our shield placed, we can bring the bottom back. That shield, you can see it does touch the bottom. What I'm going to do here is I'm just going to bring it out -1. That'll put it into it without it. That'll put it inside the bottom shell without it extending out the bottom like that. So we'll do that, and then we're going to add some additional rectangles off the bottom of this guy. So there's our 16, and then let's say 25. And the goal is for me to get this to extend out past the casing there. And then we're going to make these into 2 millimeter thick pieces. We're going to do a new body. So we've now created this panel that'll essentially go from the outside edge to the inside of the I/O panel. So we've joined that up. Let me just reopen chat. I just realized it minimized. There's chat. We're good to go. So we've done the first one. We're going to do the second one, and it's going to be the same type of thing. So we're doing, I think it was 16 millimeters, and then I said 25. And then we're just doing a press and pull and making it 2 millimeters thick, switching to a new body so it doesn't cut. And there's our panels. So I'm going to, and you don't really have to do this part now, but I'm going to go ahead and turn this into one piece. Now to get this to match the curvature of the shell, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a modify and then a combine, and I'm going to select the I/O shield part that I'm working on as the target body, and then I'm going to select the Intellivision case as the tool body. We're going to switch that to cut, and we're going to tell it to keep the tools. So we do that, and it doesn't really look like anything's changed except for as I highlight over here, now you can see that these are separate pieces. So I can now actually go into here, and I think last week I was told that you guys can't see my contacts menus, but in my body list, I can then find these two pieces, which are in my case body 42 and 43, and I can remove them. And now I'm left with an I/O shield that for that section matches the curvature of the Intellivision design. So then we're going to now finally combine the shell with this piece. We're going to switch back off of cut because we don't want to join, and we're going to tell it not to keep the tool. Keeping the tool says that, hey, whatever happens to the piece that I'm using to do my join or cut, keep a copy of it so that it's available. And since we're turning this into one piece, we don't really need it there right now. So then I'm going to use my unmodified panel here to just, oh, did not do what I was wanting. I'm going to use my unmodified panel here in a cut motion to take out the side of the case there. It looks like it might have been not quite as tall as the case. So we'll go ahead and delete that. And then we're going to also take out the bottom of the case, because this is now going to be the shape of the bottom, like that. And then finally we're going to, and actually I'm going to backstep because I just realized that I still want this to follow the casing here. So we're going to start instead with this one. Press, and this is going to give me the ability to get into this cavity after I start working on it. Then we're going to bring this up to, so I'm right clicking on here because you can see that they aren't the same height based on these division lines. So I right click on here, I'm going to do a press to pull, and I'm going to do to object and tell it to join there. We can see, yeah, it's doing a join. That's good. Now we have a solid body structure all the way across, and that looks good. So now I want to add a 2mm lid to this so that the case is closed in. We'll do a join on that. And then finally, we're going to go to the cavity that we created underneath here, do a right click on it, do a press pull, and then I should be able to rip that right through the case. And we are now left with what will be an access spot for the input outputs from the, or the outputs anyways, from the Pi. I think we're going to move it down one more notch. I know it's going to complain and I'm going to have to delete the copy it makes, but yeah, I just want to move it down 1mm. Not quite enough to... Not quite enough to... Let's do -1.5 to make that... anything make contact with the bottom, but... Let's take a look here. Yeah, see, that looks a little bit better, assuming you were putting a Pi 4 in here, which I am. Okay, so now we're going to do a combine. We're going to select the case. Then we're going to select the Raspberry Pi. I think I have to select the ports individually, maybe? Yeah, it looks like this. And we're going to switch to cut. And that's going to leave imprints, if we then hide the Pi, wherever it made contact with it. So we can then just go through here, add an offset. Let's do 1mm offset, -1, -0.6. That should be good. Welcome to chat. Let's see. Beholdilo. I probably butchered that. If it's a name at all, I apologize. I'm going to do -0.6 off of these. That should give us enough space. -0.6 there. We'll be able to then just extrude these right through to the other side. Like that. I missed the audio parts, but that's okay. 0.6. There we go. Drag it out. Okay, so what this has now given us is a pretty snazzy looking, in my opinion, although a thick boy. I keep forgetting how thick it is until I put the top back on. But if we put the Raspberry Pi back in, you'll see, oh, now all the ports are accessible from the outside on the back. So now what we're going to want... oh, nuts. I just realized that I put the ports towards the front of the unit instead of the back. That's a pretty classic mistake. I guess we're going to find out how well my case is mirrored, which we already know is not fantastic because of the debauchery on a couple. Well, actually, no, that is mirrored. Look at that. Never mind. Okay, we're going to do a move on this guy. Body. Hoping I can kind of hit the center spot here. Let's see. Because I started with the center spot. So if we start there, and we also select that one, and then trying to see what else is here for. Let's just see what happens. We're going to do a full 180 degrees rotate. Are we good? Well, I think we got away with it. Oh, I did this again last week, eh? Hey, Sean, that I didn't recognize your name right off the bat. Whoopsie. And actually, come to think of it, I owe Sean a design. Let's see if I've got that picture on here. Now I might have to send it to myself from my phone. Oh, there we go. Let's see, where is it? I'm just scrolling back through messages. Let's see. Doesn't look like it should be too difficult to make happen there, Sean. Let's take a little break, a little segue off of what I've been working on. I'm going to start with your. No, I'm going to do it now before I forget. It's all good. It's not going to be, I think, a terribly difficult design. So let me just see if I can't get this hammered out for you. So I'm going to model it at just like a random size, and you can kind of scale it to what you want it to be. Are you planning to use it as a keychain, or you just want it as a model that you can have sitting around? Let's go ahead and create a, I don't know. Let's go top down. We're going to go 120 by 80 probably, and let's do a press. Actually, hold on. I think there's a way that I can do insert canvas, and was that desktop? Sean's Rocket, and let's just. I feel like you might have told me that. I apologize for not remembering. Okay, so let's start off with, I don't know, a line from here to here. Then going to add an arc. Kind of follows. And maybe, is it that simple? It's been a while since I've done one of these. I know that there is a way. This spline where I can go. Whoop. No, it's going too bulbous on the end there. probably close enough. Then there's a way to use this to create a there's a way to turn this into a revolve. Is that what it is? And then the axis, kind of do a there, and then I don't know. I'm gonna try it this way first, and then we'll see what happens. So let's do create. I literally just yeah, it was a revolve, right? Where are you? Revolve. We'll select this. We'll select this. New body. Cool. Then what I want to do is going back to here. I'm going to create these fins. Actually, we'll do it like this. So we're going to do like this. I don't think it's actually, oh, it's because it's totally locked onto the wrong side. Finish sketch. This side. Call it, I don't know, 2 millimeters thick. It's going to be a new body. Then it looks like it might be too thick for this. Let's go 1.6 maybe. New body. Okay. I'll do that, and then we'll do a fillet off of that, and 2.4 maybe. 2.2. That'll probably be okay. Move body. I think starting with the drawing might have been a mistake, because I made it angled for no good reason. But yeah, let's do this again, but not on a plane like this. Let's do here, and we're gonna do start off with a line. We'll make it 20 and 10. Make it 10 millimeters. So then we're going to go out and say the center point is likely about there. And then we're going to do a let's see, what are we doing? We're doing a spline again. Oh, well, that would be helpful. I'd take a look at that. Sorry, I was off focus there on chat there for a second. I must have missed it. I apologize. So we're gonna do like this, and then see it's. So we're just kind of not straight line, but there. Then like that. I think that's still too much though. Let's start off on this side maybe and see if I can get. No, I did that wrong. Object file I think would be the easiest for me to follow or to work with. Let's try this. So I think we're gonna go the thickest points here, then be easier if I could shape it after the fact. So I'm just going to try and put a bunch of different points in here. That, we're going to check mark that off. And what I'm hoping I can do, no? I thought you could then just select them and drag them around. Yeah, okay, that's what I was thinking, like this. Okay, so let's say we're barely, and then we're getting a little bigger, and then coming back down to a point. This is looking mildly inappropriate. See, it doesn't go out to almost double the size, right? So like, this should be organic shapes, and I know this isn't much of an organic shape, but it's been my downfall for sure. Or if I can. I will check it out after the stream and take a look at it on stream next weekend or next Wednesday, if that's okay with everybody here. So can I rotate this? Faces. Just curious if I get rid of this. We know this is more or less the right shape. Kind of looks straight there. Create, revolve this guy, new body, do that, and we'll just hide the original one for now. There's a seam on it, but I'm not going to worry about it. There should be a center point to this, I would think. Doesn't have one for some reason, even though it was created off of flat. So what we're going to do is should hopefully allow me to just do, no, let's do it here like that. Does that put that ahead of? No, it puts it way off and not where I need it. There is a method to my madness, probably. We're going to do that, but we're going to do offset, and let's do 3, 10, 14. That should now give me the ability to draw on this. No, maybe. Okay, that's fine. We're just gonna do a we'll do a 0.8. No, let's do a 0.2. We'll bring it out to kind of where we expect the fins to end, and this one's also going to be 0.2. Then we're going to do a press pull on both of these guys. It's going to be fine. Going to do up into the rocket. We're going to do new body. Just like that. We're going to bring the canvas back. And I think from here we can then figure out that they're supposed to be about yay off the bottom, and then disappearing into the rocket. -2, let's just do -5 to make sure that we get it all. Take out the initial body and just modify the fin. And then we'll do a fill it on that. 2 maybe. And then we're going to create a circular pattern. This is the body, this is the, and it doesn't recognize that as being a circle, which is a problem for me personally. But you know what, if we consider this as being the halfway point and I divide by 2 and then I say, hey, I'm going to put a circle here, I should be able to then do that. And then I should be able to do create pattern, circular pattern, select our fin, select our axis. And that should give us our 3. Then we can get rid of the canvas. And then if I do a line here, and then another line here. Finish, and we do a modify, split body, select this guy, and that guy, and that guy, and we cut it. To bring out our colors, and we go white, toss some white onto here and here, and then we go with red, and go red in the middle, and then we go with blue. We do matte blue on each of those fins. Close it, and then we hide the canvas. Is that pretty close? I guess Sean will be the one to sort of answer that. I'm going to do, and we're going to use these to cut these, but we'll keep the tools. Then modify, combine again. We'll do that, that, that. And we now have a relatively easy to print multicolor model, because each of the components is a different piece. Right. Top cone, fin 1, fin 2, fin 3, bottom cone, and middle cone. And we're going to remove the extra one, and that should do it. I gotta remember how to save. Oh. I know it's not a rocket. I keep calling it Sean's rocket. I don't know if that showed up in the save thing. I also misspelled rocket. So save as mesh. Structure one file. We'll say OK. And Sean's rocket. And I'm not gonna show the screen because I'm gonna quickly drop it into Bamboo Studio and make sure that it shows up properly for multicoloring. And then Sean, do you know how to print things in Bamboo Studio yet? Because if not, I can quickly paint it and then save it as a Bamboo file, and then you can just get it and size it to whatever you want, and then you're good to go. Also, did you want me to put a hole through it so you can use it as a keychain, or you just want the model? I asked a bunch of questions, so I'm going to have to get you to be specific about what we're saying yes to. Prepare, add from desktop. Sean's rocket. Oh, I see. Okay. Just checking out to see how it goes. Definitely too small. Make it maybe 250%. Perfect. And then I'm going to try coloring it myself anyways, just to see. So let's do white and white. Pink, and then we'll do, no, pink, and then black, black, And we're going to lay it flat on the tip. Perfect. In that case, I'm going to export this. Or no, we can do save project as, right? I wonder if this can be sent through. So you're talking about the one with the rotating screen, right? That's what we were talking about at the beginning before I get into it. Because I haven't picked any real hardware for the updated one other than I'll probably stick with. I've got a screen that I used in the last one, but the rotating screen cabinet was released I think 5 years ago, so that's the older design that Joe was asking me to was like suggesting that I do some reworking on. Oh, like the one I showed off a few weeks ago. Uh, oh, there. I don't have an updated version of that one yet. I'm planning to do a redesign on that as well, but the one that's up on the shelf is still the original one from was it 8 years ago probably. The new one I'll definitely use a different screen because I'll definitely be going with a square screen versus the wide screen. Because especially with that low power of a device, it's there's not too much that'll take advantage of the extra screen real estate. Yeah, there's two projects that are sort of on my shelf to redesign. So there's the rotating screen arcade cabinet. We want to try and rework it so that it'll work better with smaller printers. And then I'm doing a redesign of the completely free design, which is the one that you're talking about. It'll be bigger. It'll have a square screen on it, and it'll be more targeted. I think that one I targeted a 150 by 150 bed. It's going back a while, but I think I did that one on the printer bot. I could be wrong. The new one will be targeting probably more of a 200 by 200 bed, or 180 by 180 probably if we're looking at things like the Prusa Mini and the Bamboo Mini. Hey, absolutely, man. I'm happy to send stuff off to you as I get it finalized. Um, but yeah, it'll be in the new year. I got to do that, and one project that we're supposed to be working on this winter is designing a printer from scratch. So I've got a bunch of components and stuff like that. So it's not going to be real soon, but it is going to be like in the next like 3 to 6 months where I get the arcade designs redone. Um, and most of that design work will probably end up being at least for the free one. Will probably end up being on the stream. So if you're hanging out, you'll have a chance to offer up suggestions and see it coming together in real time. Um, I just have to settle on a screen. Maybe like a nice 4x3 7-inch screen would be a good fit. So I'll check out AliExpress most likely in the new year, and we'll get that ordered off. And I want a better sound system. I'm gonna build it. The other one was built around the Orange Pi. I'm gonna build this one around the Raspberry Pi, um, and just a little more space for better control setup and stuff like that. Jackson, I don't think you did send me a picture of the new speaker. Yes, because I had asked what case you built it into. It looked like an old carrying case or something, but it was pretty neat job. Uh, You guys will bear with me for 2 seconds. I just have to fire off a very short email. Of course, it's like, oh, you haven't signed in 5 minutes, so we're going to have to get you to re-sign in to prove that you're you. There we go. All done. I haven't used Bodhistera myself. Yeah, the Pi 5 would definitely have required a bit of modification to it as well. The original intent when I started putting it together was to have it so that the Pi could potentially be mounted to the back panel, and the back panel could be modular. But it was really kind of my first very intricate 3D model where pieces are meant to bolt together, screw together, glue together, that type of thing. And so by the time I finished it, it was a different beast. But I think I can do a much better job on it this time around with the experience that I've got. And if not, well, who cares? Now, it'll be better and it'll support more modern hardware, so that'll be good. Okay, so continuing on our case design here. Yeah, I'm trying to remember. I know the soundboard on that one was a piece that could slot in because I figured not everybody would have the same amplifier I had. And I think... I don't even remember how the Pi's mounted inside there now. Is it on a piece that you glue in? This is obviously going back quite a ways. Which side is the front? This is the front, which means this side is the this side is the cartridge slot. So what I'm going to do, I think, yeah, I would do things different. Well, and I have done things differently since then. So we'll get there. How tall is that? 18.54. And then we're going to just bring this across, and we're going to add kind of a similar gap there. We'll call it 56.6. Then we're going to press pull. And we're going to do -2 or 1.6 maybe. I missed pieces. And we'll do new body. Cool. Then we want to move this. Actually, it kind of doesn't even... It looks like we're not even touching the Pi, so that's probably good. Then we're going to do a modify, combine. Same type of thing we just did. Select the pieces of the Pi that we want to cut it out. Done. Hide the Pi. Then actually, so what I'm probably going to do, because I want this to be compatible for the 4 and the 5, Go another 2 out from there. And then -2. And we're going to we'll do the same thing actually. We'll do the modify combine. We'll use this to cut things into it like that. Remove the extra pieces we don't need. Then we're going to hide the pie. And so do -0.4, maybe 0.6, just to make sure that we got plenty of space. Hey, I'm glad you like it. I'm glad you like it. Go ahead and cut this into here, and then give me perfect. Perfect, perfect, perfect. And then we're going to hide the lower body, which I guess is this one. Hey, I'm willing to try. Well, not all of the cases I've designed or uploaded. I think most of them, if not all of them, are still on Thingiverse. It's been a couple of years since I've uploaded a design. Yeah, my wife and I recently relocated, and a lot of the stuff has just been getting things ready in our new house, and as a result, I haven't been as active as I once was. That should be good. This is very similar to what we just did, except for I'm losing steam. Just a little bit. 25.560, we'll just have to try and remember that. We're going to go all the way out. -2. New body. $25.560. Doesn't really matter how long this is as long as it clears that. -2. I guess it's just 2. 2. New body. There we go. And we do combine. I'm pretty sure that's already done actually, so we're going to do a modify. Oh yeah, combine still. We're going to select this. This is our cutting tool. We're going to keep the tool. Oh yeah, this isn't going to work as well because those pieces are big enough to be all the way across, or they're taller than the rest of the case. Select this. Nope, not that. Select this, and then that, and then that. And then if we hide the main body, we now at least have what's going on here? That's weird. Why is it not letting me... Very weird, but not a big deal. Don't know why it was complaining about it, but it's gonna complain on this one too? No, that one's fine. So then we're gonna do that. And I think we're gonna do a split body. Just realizing things look odd. Things look odd to me. Oh. Like, does the top of this look angled? How did that get an angle on it? Right, I'm not crazy, right? If we go across like this and do a press pull, it's going to cut something off of the top of that? Yeah. Weird. I think that'll be okay anyways. Okay, so next I want to do a modify split body. We're gonna split that guy on here like that. Modify split body. Same thing with this guy. Like that. Modify split body. This guy and this guy. So then if we hide the bottom part, actually let's add, let's go ahead and combine this with the lower pieces. Should be good. Then if we hide the lower half, you know, or not. Oh, because it's, I think it was on subtract. Yeah, that's what it was. We don't want to keep the tool pieces. Going to combine it with those two. Now if we hide this, that makes more sense, and we bring back the top. Tricky, tricky. Why is this not properly matched up? To object here. Interesting. No, we're not going to do join. We'll do new body. Because I'm worried that when I combine these, it's going to grab these pieces too. And body gone. And we're going to do here. Press and hold to object. There we go. And there we go. That should turn all that into one piece. Bring the top back. Do a modify. Combine. And what we're going to do is take this and Slide it right through. I guess technically that's just the holes for the pie case. Or for the ports. That's not exactly what we want. So that's 5. So let's say we do a 3mm. No, 3mm there. Greetings, Mike. Did you have a successful day of not letting the machines win today? Go to the top part. It's 4. Do 1.2. Okay, so now if we bring these back together, there's now a married surface there, and if we put the pie there, the ports are accessible. So I do feel like this could potentially be a little bit tighter, but probably better safe than sorry. So then the other thing I want to do, I'm going to do a press pull. And we're going to do 2 object, and we're going to do here, and we're going to what? New body? There we go, I guess. And then we're going to do another. This is going to be a line across here because I don't want it to grab that overlap. Actually, this is I probably have to double check the other one too. To object here, new body. We're going to hide the top. So what I want to do is the cartridge usually goes on this side, and I want to create an insert cover that makes it look like it's got a cartridge in it, if that makes sense. So for anybody that's not using the USB ports, now I can actually make this hollow. If I do a combine here, turn those into one thing, and then I just have to kind of take a look here at the bottom quickly to see what the lip is. The lip is problematic, but I think we need it, right? Maybe not. Here, let's do press pull to object, and we'll make it a little bit thicker here, like that. Get rid of that. That should still be fine. Plenty of room to plug in an Ethernet cord. Hide the bottom. Hide the bottom. Bring this back. And what we're going to do is, first of all, we'll axe this guy out. And then this fairly easy to remove, so we'll do this and we'll do 0.2 minus 0.2. And actually, before we do that, before we add the tolerances, I'm going to bring the top back because I want to line the cartridge up with these guys so it kind of lines up with the controller ports. Doesn't need to be perfect, so let's just bring it down 7mm from there. And then we're going to create the cartridge, which will make 7mm thick. Then just want to take a quick look at the image that I've been displaying. Is the image still there? I've actually got it covered up on my side. Is there a cartridge in it? There's no cartridge in it. Oh, I goofed. I goofed. The cartridge is on the other side. That is okay. No problem. So let's do a create a shell out of this guy, modify a shell. We'll make it 2mm. Let's make it 2.6mm. So I've got some wiggle room for the tolerances for this to be an insert. Yeah, the cartridge is, I misremembered, it's on this side over here. Just too bad, because that would have worked out perfect. Yeah, because the cartridge would have essentially given you a handle that you could pull this out on. That's okay. So, that being said, we said we went down 7mm and then we did 7mm cartridge. Images. I'm just gonna go pull up a picture to see what it looks like with the cartridge insert to just get the appropriate view in my head. Yeah, so it's kind of sticking out. It looks like about the same distance as, if we go top here, I'm going to do press pull. We're going to do a it's probably good. No, it needs to be more than that, I think. Let's do that. New body. Jumping back onto chat now because I was off of it there for 2 seconds. We're going to add a chamfer to this front edge. And it's going to be 6.4, I think. Good enough. And then we're going to do, this actually looks like it might be too thick. So let's make it 1mm thinner. And then we'll do 5.4. Well, that's a good place to start. That's one of the ones I did when I was getting into it first. There's lots and lots of dimensional diagrams available for online. So if you want to go with a scaled one, that's one of the things I did in a lot of my original Pi cases, is that they were designed to be somewhat dimensionally accurate. So the Intellivision cartridges had a plastic line built into them to show you how far to insert them. That's too much though, it's too tall. 0.4 maybe? Does look like it's I don't know, I'm having a hard time getting this to look just the way I'm thinking of it and picturing it and all that stuff. I'd actually say that cartridge is now too wide. I'm remembering it being as wide as the controller, but perhaps that is not the case. So let's do a -5. Then a -5 on the other one. All of a sudden I care about this being dimensionally accurate, even though she's way thicker than the original one. That being said, that looks better, so I'm going to call it good, and then we're going to do -1.2 on the offset. We'll just do a -0.4 on the insert there. Go ahead and toss a coat of black paint on that. Then we're going to hide the top again. We're going to do an offset of 0.2. We'll go ahead and drag this out. Bring the top back, cutting a hole for the cartridge. And we'll do actually here we're going to frame this part out first. We'll do 2 millimeters for the walls on it. I'm going to press pull, and honestly it doesn't need to be too much. 12 -2, so that means it inserts about a centimeter. Yeah, the one thing I wanted to do, might be able to just get away with doing it like this. No, because of the curvature. I want to connect this part to the top part because it doesn't need to be a standalone piece. Yeah, I haven't, I don't even know for sure that I've tried Tinkercad myself. I'm not guaranteeing I did or didn't. But if I did, it was a long time ago. For some reason, Fusion just kind of clicked with me. It just made sense. I don't think it's everybody's experience, but let's see if we can combine all this back into one. What else are we missing from number 1? Yeah, that's fair. I split off all of my fan mounts. So then we're going to hide the top, and we are rapidly approaching the end of this stream. We got 11 people hanging out tonight, so not a bad night. I appreciate everybody being here. I know this isn't the most exciting things for everybody, but I always got a kick out of watching other people model, and hopefully I give that to you guys as well, watching things come together. So there's the bottom, there's the top. Lost all my coloring on the top when I did the combinations, I guess. You know what? It's probably less effort for me to Control Z back. There we go. And then we're going to do a combine, and we're going to start with this guy. And then add this and this and this. And this and this. Hopefully that allows us to keep our color coding. It does. And our bottom, turn it black as well. And then the plug for the side, also black. I think what I'll do is, very non-scientifically, I'm going to here, let's start off by creating a square that's roughly the same color or same size as that insert. Then I'm going to do a diagonal to get into the middle of it. From there, I'm going to click here, and how big was it again? That's 7. So I only want to make it like 2 and then 20. 2 and then 20. So I'm just creating a little slot here so that if you stick the piece in, you can then pull it back out with like a coin or something like that, or a screwdriver, or whatever it takes. Easy peasy. That's a good question. I think it's been a while since I did this. Let's see. So, let's see if I can toss this link into chat. Oh, that was last week's chat. I thought I opened this week's chat and it was, I think here you can, oh no, it won't let me send the link. Look for Fusion 360 for personal use. Just do a Google search on it, and the link is literally, it's off Autodesk.com, and it's Autodesk Fusion for personal use. And I think if you go through there, you can go through the application process and say, hey, it's basically for, you can't make more than $1,000 a year selling designs and stuff, I believe is the catch on it. but you know, if you're wanting to get started on it, that's certainly a way to go with it. Yeah, it would not let me send the link, so we'll have to just do it that way. Okay, well, I'm going to start wrapping things up because I do need to be off right at 8:30. So I want to thank you guys all for hanging out. I really enjoy the conversations we get to have while we do this. I get like the feedback that I get on designs, and I'm looking forward to doing some more intricate stuff. I know that the Intellivision isn't everybody's first console or most people's first console, so there may not be a ton of nostalgia for it. So um, I still appreciate everybody hanging out and checking it out with me, and I think we're off to a pretty good start here. It looks like we're almost done, but there's still a bit left to do, especially if we're going to try and get a little wood grain action going in here. I don't know how it's going to work out, but just add a little curvature to that case. I think that'll look better. But yeah, there's our effort. We still got to model in the power and reset switch, which won't be functional, but they'll be there. And I got to update the rest of the keypad to this design with the black outline around there. And then I got to figure out how I'm going to get it to print in multicolor, and sort of what the best layout for it's going to be. Really, the most complicated part of this case is that there's no good surface to print it on. I think I'm going to end up printing it this side down on the top, and just let it use support material to support the fan and stuff, and then it's probably the same thing for the bottom to make sure that the curvature on the case ends up looking right. And then we'll have probably the first Intellivision Raspberry Pi case. So yeah, actually I think we're just going to quickly, let's go ahead and do a minus 1.2. Let's do point, I guess it can be 1.8. As I say how I gotta be right off, I also want to get these reset switches in while I can. $5 millimeters, and let's make it 7, or maybe 8, maybe 9. 5 and 9. Make them 2. That's probably too much. 1.2. I will. If I don't get a chance to look at it this week, because it's a pretty busy week, I will open it on stream next week, and we'll take a look at it, and get you some feedback on that. So yeah, just give me 2 seconds. I'm just gonna finish this up real quick, and then we'll call it a day. The power switch has a little nubbin in the middle, which I'm going to make a little bit bigger than is true to form, but get rid of that. Make that 1.6, and yeah, we're kind of almost there anyways. Do a little fillet on that. I'm going to aim for next Wednesday again. I'm going to try and do these every Wednesday for the next little bit, just to get back into the routine and hammer out some fun design work. And yeah. Is that kind of yeah, it's pretty close. And we're gonna give it a save. All right, thanks everybody. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for all the feedback, and I will see you guys again really soon. Have a great rest of the week.